Hello, and now for kind of part two of my kind of gear discussion videos, right? I'll put a link in the description below to part one where I talk about, some updates and, some key pieces of gear that I changed in my kit. But this video is going to be all about one specific piece of gear, and it's a biggie. It's a big one. That is my backpack. So this is my custom Atom 35 from Atompacks, based in the UK. And I have now I was trying to estimate earlier when I was like counting in my head with all the day hikes and section hikes, and I've also taken it out like on long scooter rides, and I think altogether I have around 150, maybe 160 kilometers on this pack now. So I feel now uh, I can give a more in-depth like kind of first review of it. Maybe in the future I'll do like a long-term review of it. We'll see about that. But I did do another video, which you can check my channel for, where I talked about kind of my first impressions after just doing a few day hikes with it. But just to get down to it, and again, quick disclaimer: I'm not sponsored by Atompacks or anything like that. To get to it though, I love this pack. This is a fantastic backpack. I'd said in the last video, I said, because I have like a gold standard that it's trying to compete with here, or to be compared to, would be my Mountain Laurel Designs Burn, which now my wife has inherited as her go-to pack, right? And that's a fantastic pack too. That's like, I think the best way to put it is like this. I think the two packs are about tied. I think that both of these represent to me like the pinnacle of ultralight frameless backpack. I'm very happy with it. There are just a few kind of fine tuning things I would do to either one. The Mountain Laurel Designs, Burn, I have in DCF. This one is in Robic, woven tough fabric. But I did get the bottom in a 500D. The bottom is out of a tougher, woven fabric, the 500D nylon. But it just performs great. Now, I will say this: there are, some pros and cons, when I compare this to the Burn, and I guess I'll just jump into the big one before I get into everything that I love. Let me get, kind of the fine tuning out of the way, and the big one, or biggest one, I guess, would be the shoulder straps. Now, I mentioned in that last video, which I talked about before, that the shoulder straps are slightly less wide. I measured them. I should have written down the measurements, I forget, but the Mountain Laurel Designs Burn pack has slightly wider, slightly thicker shoulder straps, and they're phenomenal. Those are the best shoulder straps that I've tried on a pack. I used to own a Exodus, the larger, like the big brother or sister to the Burn, and they had the same, just these wonderful, big, thick, wide shoulder straps, and they're great. So that's one thing that the Burn excels at. But I have to say, they're pretty good. They're like close. They're very comfortable. I would say the only difference, if the shoulder packs of like the Burn are like a 9.5, these are like an 8.5. They're very good. The difference is in for practical purposes. What that means is that I found myself tweaking the straps more while hiking, just a bit more to get comfortable. With the Burn, I seem to, I put it on, mess with the straps just a bit while I, put it on again, and I'm good for a while. I would tweak it on occasion, and it's very, very comfortable. But with this pack, I found while hiking, I have to adjust the shoulder strap a bit more. The bottom of the shoulder pads, every now and then they start to dig into my chest at kind of a odd angle. But this is, again, very, I'm really nitpicking here, because all in all, most of the time I'm not thinking about the pack. I'm just hiking and enjoying myself, and this is with a base weight. I guess what I can do is I'll throw link in the description to the base weight so you understand the context of what I'm carrying in this pack. This is, you know, roughly a 8.5, if I remember correctly, it's like an 8.5 pound base weight, right? Which is adequate. This is, you know, that's about perfect for a pack like this, right? And so the shoulder straps are there. So that's one thing I will say, that the burn, I have to give the credit to the burn on that one. But the options on the Atompack, I think, are superior to the burn. And that's has everything to do with customization. You can get Atompacks to do, you know, quite a lot. I emailed back and forth and I said, I want this, I want that. And they were able to do that. For example, the bottom, you can see here, is that tougher fabric I told you about. Because I don't like to worry about like putting it down on, like, you know, asphalt or gravel or, you know, whatever, pine needles. I like to be able to just put it down and not worry about it so much, right? And so for very, very little weight penalty, you know, I can have that there on the bottom. A lot of people in the ultralight community, they love to have that bottom pack. Atompacks does, you know, offer the option of a bottom pocket. Sorry, that's what I meant to say, bottom pocket. I don't need to have that space. I don't need to, that's just, it's not for me. Nothing against it, but I mentioned earlier in my other video when I talked about fanny pack, with the fanny pack plus the shoulder pockets plus like my regular pants pockets, that's more than enough, you know, volume for me to keep what I need while I'm hiking. Plus the front pocket, that's another thing. I have to give the front pocket, I think I slightly prefer the front pocket of the Atompack to the burn, but now we're splitting hairs here. You know, I feel like I can fit things a little bit more in this front pocket, and the elastic on it does a good job of holding everything in place. So yeah, the side straps I haven't got a chance to use yet, but I like that they're, you know, they're there if I need them, and they don't, you know, that's a very, very small weight penalty to have, so I'm definitely going to keep that. The side pockets I really like too. I was able to fit like a can of Pringles plus my water bottle, a half-liter water bottle. You could fit, you know, probably 2 smart water bottles or 2 liters of water in each side. But because water is plentiful here in Sweden, I only take a liter of water. Yes. So another thing I like too, and I think this is just kind of a happy coincidence, I've always wanted to have a dedicated place to strap my compass. So if you saw, my fanny pack has my backup compass, but you notice here this Atompack's logo kind of a patch here, right? It actually, it's hollow. Like there, you know, I was able to thread my my necklace, my compass necklace. It also has a whistle there. In there, that way I don't have to worry about losing it, right? So it's there on my pack, kind of, you know, somewhat permanently. But of course I can always take that off if I need to just wear that, and it fits nicely in this, you know, pocket. I wasn't sure if I was going to like the shoulder strap pockets, but I do. They're kind of like my whatever pockets while I'm hiking. Maybe my buff goes in there, maybe, you know, my gloves go in there, maybe a granola bar, you know, whatever. They're nice to have. I did ask Atompacks whenever I ordered to make them slightly larger at the top, because when I'd ordered another pack from them, I thought they were a little bit tricky to get like my phone or bigger things in and out. So I did get them bigger. You may or may not want to do that. I noticed on a few occasions when I was taking my pack on and off that my phone or another heavy thing like a granola bar, you know, could slip out and fall. But that's not a big deal to me. I prefer personally to have just slightly easier access things, because I'm not worried about anything I'm putting in there losing or breaking. And plus, I actually prefer keeping my phone in my fanny pack or in my pocket anyway. Now let's discuss the fabric. So this is the Robic fabric, which this is going to be harder to compare and contrast with the DCF. They each have their own pros and cons. When it comes to the DCF, obviously it's inherently waterproof. It's just the seams that are going to allow water in, and the burn is taped. So it's essentially a waterproof pack, right? Or close to as close to waterproof as you're going to get. This is, the fabric claims to be waterproof. It does have a, if I flip it out here, it's kind of hard to see, but it does have a coating on the inside, right? The seams are not taped, so I would say this is, water resistant, right? But again, I use a poncho. I've mentioned this many times in other videos. Poncho is my go-to. I'm a big poncho fan and poncho tarp fan, so that's going over my packs anyway as a pack cover. So that's not something I have to worry about as much. Even though here in rainy Scandinavia, there's plenty of rain and precipitation, but I don't have to worry about that because then everything is like triple protected because I got my poncho, then I got the backpack itself, and then for key pieces of gear like my quilt, that's in a waterproof dry bag anyway. But here's one thing that surprised me. I didn't really think this would be kind of a factor that would be at play in using this pack, and that's the stretch of the nylon, the 210 Robic nylon. It has a little bit of stretch, whereas the DCF pack, the Burn, has no stretch at all. So in packing, I noticed that it was easier to kind of like stuff things in, or compress things in when I'm packing. And I also mentioned in my other video how I switched out to a nicer and thinner foam pad. That actually freed up the combination of the fabric being slightly, you can even see in the camera there, I can see slightly stretchy, ever so slightly stretchy, plus the thinner foam pad. That actually freed up just enough space for me to be able to pack I fold up my Neoair, my Neoair Xtherm is my go-to sleeping pad for much of the year. It allowed me to fold that up and put that at the bottom, kind of at the front here next to my dry bag. So I have on the bottom, I have my quilt in a 12-liter rectangular dry bag. I have my quilt and my sleep, clothes, and that goes on the very bottom, right? But then in front of that, I have my sleeping mat, the Xlite, and then all through the back, I have the foam pad, and then from there, the rest of the gear. But then on top, too, in packing food, I was able to stuff, a max of 6 days of food, and I could even push that further because that's inside the pack. I was able to get 6 days worth of food in this pack and roll it down 3 times. I could push that further if I wanted to do, say, 7 days. I could strap food to the top of the pack with the top strap. I doubt I'll ever have to do that. Never say never, but that is, it's more than enough for my needs. I usually, when I'm on section hikes, they're like between 3 and 5, 6 days. And so it's like perfect for my needs. So I can fit all my food, and that includes, also, I should also mention that includes, luxury food that takes up a lot of real estate up on top. That's going to be like, chips or, hot dogs and tortillas and these kind of things that I will take out like as luxuries for like the first night out. But yes, I think I've covered everything, all the major points I wanted to cover for now. Oh, one more thing. I did I made my own sternum strap and hip belt out of some scraps I had. So it's just kind of like a make your own gear little solution. Whenever I fully loaded it with max water, max food on one of the section hikes, then and only then did I use the hip belt, and it did its job fine. It's just like a very thin webbing, nylon webbing hip belt, and it's just for a bit more weight distribution. But mostly I have that there for like scrambling if I'm going up like the side of a steep hill, or if I'm doing something a bit more technical or strenuous. That prevents it, like the pack from flopping around. So I like it for like more like stability, and that's been the case for years and years now. I've been using frameless, ultralight frameless packs for quite some time, and having that very minimalist hip belt I like. Most of the time though, I have it clipped. How I worked it out is I have some loops on the front of the pack, and you can see it's clipped there. It lives there most of the time. The hip belt, the minimalist hip belt, kind of just stays there, and I'm good to go. I'm fine. I'm more than fine with just the sternum strap and the nice shoulder straps. Okay, so there you have it, my kind of first review after getting some good mileage out of the Atompack. I'm very, very happy with it. It's my go-to pack now. I'm happy to now, like, have my wife. She's going to use the burn, and I will use the Atompack when we go on trips together. And yeah, this is going to be the pack for hopefully for quite some time. All right, I hope this was helpful for you. I noticed too, before I bought this pack and doing like some searches on YouTube, there are not that many reviews on the Atompack. There are several like first impression type reviews, but now this is after some, a bit of use, right? And hopefully it will get much more good use in the future. So thanks. Happy trails to you. Hopefully you'll get out there with your own pack, whatever it may be, and goodbye.